A family is on vacation on their yacht in the middle of the Caribbean Sea. The mom, Julia, jumps into the water for a swim. While chilling out, she feels something weird, but since she can't see anything around, she figures it must be her imagination. A few seconds later, that same strange feeling comes back. Again, nothing shows up, but now she starts to freak out and begins swimming toward the yacht. Suddenly, something grabs her leg, and she starts screaming her head off for help. Her daughter, Cassie, is listening to music on her headphones, so she doesn't hear a thing. Her husband, Tom, and son, Ben, are busy fishing. Julia tries to keep her head above water, but getting water in her mouth makes it hard to scream. A little later, Tom realizes he hasn't seen Julia for a while. He looks for her on the yacht and then spots his wife in danger. He yells for the kids, steers the yacht over to her, and jumps in the water. He quickly gets to Julia, grabs her, and swims back to the yacht. The kids pull them both up. The family checks on Julia, but Julia tries to tell herself it was probably just the waves. That night, everyone celebrates Ben's birthday together. Cassie gets a call from her boyfriend and takes her laptop outside. On the video call, her boyfriend shows her big dark clouds covering the city. The call glitches and freezes. Cassie comes in to tell the family, but Tom says the signal's probably weak because they're so far from land. Just then, everyone hears a sound. They all go outside and see a pod of whales passing by. Tom explains that whales always follow the Earth's magnetic field, but they get mixed up when a storm hits. Suddenly, the yacht shakes violently and Ben falls. Tom's worried the yacht might be damaged, so he dives down to check. He comes back up a while later, but he has a huge gash on his shoulder. Julia immediately stitches him up. Tom explains that underwater, he felt like there was a really big thing behind him, but when he turned to look, he got cut by the propeller. He says whatever it was massive. Tom notices a lot of damage to the yacht, so they're gonna have to call for help. Julia keeps trying the radio. Cassie looks for a signal on her phone, but nothing's working. Suddenly, Cassie sees a weird creature and screams, but it's just Ben, messing around wearing a mask. A little later, the yacht totally shuts down, and they're stuck in the middle of the ocean. Julia hears a voice on the radio, but the static's so bad she can't understand anything. Tom tells the family they've only got 4 days of food and water left, and now they'll have to wait for a fishing boat. All of a sudden, something's picked up on the radar and the family hears a strange noise. Everyone runs outside and is shocked to see a bunch of meteorites going to the ground. Big explosions happen wherever the meteorites hit. A meteorite lands in the water near them, so Tom immediately tries to start the yacht. The engine barely turns over, but then another meteorite slams into the area. The family clings to each other in fear. Tom then realizes that the fireballs falling aren't meteorites, they're satellites. At that exact moment, Ben sees smoke coming from the yacht. Tom checks and confirms the engine's broken. The wind starts to pick up, so the family hides inside the yacht, but without noticing that the compass is spinning super fast. The yacht starts rocking back and forth violently. Ben falls again, and this time he gets hurt. Waves are smashing hard against the yacht. Tom struggles to go outside and grab the life jackets. Just then, the power goes out. Tom immediately pushes the power box button, and the lights come back on. At that moment, Ben notices that Julia's nose is bleeding. Julia starts feeling dizzy, while Cassie goes to the sink and pukes. Tom keeps trying to radio, but can't get a signal. Suddenly, a loud, high-pitched noise sounds, and the wind gets even stronger. Julia tries to close the doors, but a hatch flies open and the wind starts shattering the windows. Tom lights a flare, and a little later, it gets dark. The next morning, the family wakes up in shock that they made it through the storm, but the yacht's half destroyed. When they go outside, they see that the ocean water has disappeared, and the yacht's now stuck on the ground. Everyone's freaked out by this sight. Cassie checks for a signal, but the network's completely down. Ben starts playing with 2 dead crabs. Tom checks the compass and sees that it has flipped over. This last happened 700,000 years ago. Cassie thinks her boyfriend must be dead and loses it. When Julia comes to comfort her, Cassie pushes her away and goes to hide. Julia and Tom check the remaining supplies. Ben ties his birthday balloons to a rock, hoping a survivor might see them. Tom tries the radio again, and this time he connects with a guy named Maki Now, who's the captain of a submarine. His submarine is also stuck on the land. He confirms that the magnetic poles have reversed, which is why the ocean pulled back and the land was underwater. He says he hasn't seen any other survivors yet, and communication systems are totally down. He also says that the poles will switch back and the ocean might return in about a week. He warns the family to climb as high as they can because when the water comes back, it will be really dangerous. He mentions his partner got killed in the crash and there's only room for 3 people in the submarine. Julia and Tom begged him to please save their kids.
He gives them his coordinates. Tom calculates that it'll take 2 to 3 days to reach the submarine. He tells the family to get some good rest tonight and they'll head out in the morning. The next morning, the family is packing up their stuff when Tom sees something moving nearby. It's a limping guy holding a harpoon with a dog that won't stop barking. Tom walks up to him and offers him a bottle of water, but the guy speaks in a language Tom doesn't understand. After drinking the water, the stranger suddenly smacks Tom on the head with the bottle and kicks him hard in the face. Julia runs in fear, but it's too late. The guy stabbed Tom in the stomach with the harpoon. Tom struggles for a second, and then he slits his throat. The man then goes after Julia and throws the harpoon at her, injuring her shoulder. Julia fights through the pain, runs inside the yacht, and tells the kids to hide. She locks the door. Cassie and Ben crawl inside the couch. Julia hands them the flare gun and hides in the bathroom with a knife. The guy slams against the door hard and finally gets inside. First he grabs some food, then starts looking around the yacht. Then he walks toward the bathroom, but Julia smartly slips out through a small hole. The guy thinks Julia ran off, but as she slowly tries to sneak out, his dog sees her and starts barking. The dog jumps at her, so Julia kills it with the knife. Hearing the dog's yelp, the guy comes outside and is furious to see his dead dog. Meanwhile, Julia tries to get back inside the yacht from the other side. She climbs up and starts crawling in through a broken window, but the guy's already there. He grabs her and punches her hard, making her fall down. Julia tries to hold onto furniture to save herself, but the guy kicks her away. Then he steps on her wrist to make her drop the knife, and then grabs her hair, slams her face on the ground, throws her on the couch, and starts choking her. The kids are watching the whole thing. Cassie comes out and fires the flare gun, hitting the guy directly. He catches fire, and the fire starts spreading on the yacht. The kids run off right away. But Julia comes back. She kicks him down, grabs the map and the bag, and gets out of there. Ben and Hassie go to their dad and start crying. Julia sits with them, and the three of them tearfully say their final goodbyes to Tom. Just then, that terrifying man comes out of the yacht again, so the family starts running once more. A few moments later, the yacht blows up with a huge explosion. After walking a little ways, they stop near a small waterfall to rest. Cassie suggests that maybe the crazy guy came after them because of the balloons. Hearing this, Ben starts to feel guilty. Julia assures him it wasn't his fault and tells everyone to keep moving because the guy's still behind them. On the way, near a small pond, Ben is shocked to see a dead hammerhead shark. Just then, Julia notices that the man is getting close to them again. Everyone takes off running and falls down a sand dune where they see toxic waste. The family carefully makes it across, and it seems that they lost the guy. As they walk, they see big dead sea animals and all the plastic that's piled up under the ocean. Ben starts walking slowly, and Julia realizes he's close to getting dehydrated. She tells everyone to stop. When she looks at the water bottle, she's stunned. The water's almost gone. Cassie realizes she probably didn't close the bottle right. Julia angrily shouts that the water's gone because of her carelessness. Cassie retorts that what's the point? We're not going to make it anyway. A long argument breaks out between them. Still, the family keeps walking. A little later, they find a crashed plane. Everyone's scared to see something moving inside, but it's just birds. The family decides they'll spend the night inside the plane. They share a little snack, and Julia finds a family photo in Tom's jacket, which breaks her heart. Cassie asks Mom, "What was your and Dad's love story?" Julia smiles and tells her that Tom was her patient in the hospital. Then one day, he showed his love by giving her flowers and a sweet poem. In the middle of the night, Cassie goes outside the plane. Just then, the terrifying guy tries to grab her from behind, but Julia suddenly attacks him from the back and kills him by stabbing him over and over with the knife. Cassie hugs her mom to calm her down. The next morning, maggots are crawling all over his body. The family notices several bite marks on him, meaning a dangerous creature is hiding in the area. As they leave, crabs call out of his mouth. A few hours later, Julia and Cassie are checking the map, but Ben quietly moves ahead. Julia yells, "Hold on!" But Ben leans down to drink water from a pond. Julia immediately pulls him out and explains that unknown water could make him sick. The sun gets really hot, so the family covers their heads with clothes. Ben starts feeling dizzy. Just then, they find some old chairs, and Julia and Cassie build a temporary shelter with them. Julia gives Ben an injection and decides they'll spend the night there. In the morning, Julia wakes up to a strange sound. She goes outside and sees a huge swarm of crabs coming toward them. She immediately wakes up the kids, and the three of them start running. As they run, they spot a large cargo ship. 3 crew members are alive there. A woman wants to help them, but the other 2 men refuse, and the 3 of them lock the container, leaving the family outside. The crabs get closer. Julia helps the children climb onto the container. As she starts climbing, the crabs bite her leg hard. The children pull her up or she would have fallen. Half the crabs get inside the container through a hole. The crew members start shooting, but the crabs overwhelm them and kill both men. The last guy reaches the hole in the roof, but the crabs drag him down and he dies too. Julia puts a bandage on her wound and passes out. When she wakes up a little later, she finds herself alone in the middle of a sandstorm. She frantically looks for the kids, grabs a dead woman's gun, and screams loudly. Cassie comes back hearing her voice and tells her that she and Ben went to look for help but couldn't find anyone. Then they run into Ben, who found an open container where they can wait out the storm. Julia takes Tom's lighter and burns her wound closed, which is extremely painful. After the storm stops, they find another container with a ton of water bottles. While checking the bodies, they also find a radio and a gun.
Julia contacts the submarine and tells now that the map's gone. Now explains that they were attacked by arthropods, which are now creatures that have gone totally crazy because of the oxygen. Now tells the family to hurry up because his instruments calculate that the ocean will come back sooner than they expected, and they only have a few hours. He shoots a flare and the family starts walking in that direction. After a long walk, the family finds a broken toilet, which Ben uses to pee. They finally see the submarine close by, but to get to it, they'll have to cross a big rocky path. As they go through the path, the walls start shaking and rocks start falling, causing a terrifying rock slide. Julia immediately pushes her kids to the side and backs herself up to avoid getting crushed. Now a rock wall is between them. Julia tells the kids to go on without her, but Cassie refuses and insists that her mom try to climb. After a lot of arguing and yelling, Julia promises she'll find her kids later. Reluctantly, Cassie pulls her brother and moves forward. The kids climb the rocky path and run toward the submarine, but when they get there, they see now lying outside covered in blood. He explains that it's over for him and now the kids can take the submarine. Thinking there might be an extra spot, Cassie runs back to look for her mom. Just then, Julia sees the crabs coming and starts shooting. She kills a few crabs, but the swarm is huge and it's hard to fight them all. At that moment, Cassie appears above the wall and reaches out her hand, so Julia starts climbing fast despite her injured leg. With Cassie's help, she makes it to the other side and they both run to the submarine. Ben's already standing on top and opens fire to keep the crabs distracted until the family can climb up. The crabs reach Now's body and immediately start eating him. Julia grabs the gun and keeps shooting until the kids are safe. Once they're safe, Julia realizes she's out of bullets, so she throws the gun at the crabs and goes inside with her kids. The family locks the hatch securely and watches the crabs surrounding the submarine through the window. Right then, the ocean comes back, so the three of them immediately sit in their seats, put on their seatbelts, and hold hands. Huge waves start throwing the submarine around violently, making Julia have visions of the entire journey and Cassie puke. Soon that high-pitched noise comes back and the family blacks out. A little later, Julia and the kids come to and are happy they survived. They unlock the hatch and climb out, seeing that the waves have dropped the submarine into a destroyed city. This means there's hope for survival and starting a new life. And that's where the movie ends. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you keep getting fun videos like this. Thanks for watching.